Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all in this truth from who grew well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom. Coming to you back with another lesson through the Spirit. And I'm entitled this one, You May Have to Die for This Truth, because great persecution is coming, not just for the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, those who are openly testifying against this wicked place, but for all the world. The hour of temptation is right around the corner. All hell's about to break loose. Esau, Edom coming down with that great wrath, the self-proclaimed white man, because he knows that he has a short time. So ultimately, Esau, Edom is itching to put his hands on the true prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the believers. But we know that he's not going to get to all of them. But some of the members of the elect are going to be thrown in prison. Some of them are going to get delivered, like in the account of Peter, when the angel delivered them. And then some of the members of the elect that refuse to take the MOTB, which is the RFID microchip, during the hour of temptation. Ultimately, they're going to be faithful unto death and be willing to lay their lives down for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, for this truth, for this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But like it says, those who die, or those who are going to be risen up first, are going to be those ultimately who were the martyrs for the testimony of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And these are the times that we're coming into. And only the true prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai are going to be pushing that and exhorting the congregation, because a lot of these camps, a lot of these, or really majority of these camps in these Christian churches that aren't teaching the true doctrine of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they're not teaching their congregation that you may have to lose your life for being a Christian, or you may have to lose your life for being an Israelite. No, they're telling their congregation that it's going to be an easy peasy way to the kingdom of heaven. But they're about to be sadly mistaken when they get hit with the hour of temptation, when they get hit with great tribulation. They're not going to have no comfort. They're going to be through as hell out here, because ultimately during the grace period, they weren't preparing themselves for what's about to come up on the planet Earth. Being okay with losing your life, accepting death. Majority of our people, they're not okay with that. And that's why they're going to bug the hell out when Esau, Edom comes down with that great wrath, when he throws them in prison, because they weren't ready. But the elect, they're gonna be willing to lay their lives down for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had a short time. So ultimately, Esau, Edom, aka the devil, aka the self-proclaimed white man, he's about to come down with that great wrath, because his kingdom, America, Babylon the Great, this wicked ass kingdom, this Edomite supremacy kingdom, it's about to go down. So knowing that, Esau, Edom, he has to make his move, because he can't keep kicking the can down the road for much longer. He can't keep, bugging out and trying to buy himself time. No, Esau, Edom, he's already on borrowed time. He's already on a ticking time bomb. Is that hourglass, sand hourglass is running out, and that's why he's about to make his move. He's about to blame the ministry, because ultimately that's all he has left. He can no longer hide himself under being white, being pure. He's being exposed first and foremost by the true prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, starting where our apostles, elders, bishops on down. And that's why he's about to make his move. He's about to, or he is going to move, put hands on some of the prophets of Yahweh Bashim El Shai. Some of the believers, for the most part, majority of the members of the elect are going to be okay. They're going to be delivered. Some of the members are going to get spiritual power, but then you're going to have those members of the elect that ultimately are going to have to lay their life down for this truth. And they're going to be willing to do it because they were getting themselves ready during this grace period, during the mercy period, while majority of our people, they were bugging out. They were being 2/3, eating, drinking, giving into marriage. So when that great persecution comes, especially for these Israelites, know that they're Israelites, they're not going to have no covering. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 12. Yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushai shall suffer persecution. And majority of our people, they're not suffering persecution for being followers of Yahushai in truth and sincerity. No, majority of our people, they either catching hell or they're being persecuted because they're being wicked or they're doing crimes and selling drugs, this and that, being persecuted by Esau. But they're not being persecuted for pushing the testimony of Yahweh Bashim El Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy. Only the elect of Yahweh Bashim El Shai are going to be persecuted for righteousness' sake, while the rest of our people, they're going to keep catching hell and not knowing why, not knowing that Esau, he's about to do a number on our people. This is Acts chapter 14 and verse 22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yahweh Bashim El Shai. So it's not going to be no easy road to the kingdom of heaven like these other religions, Christianity, Roman Catholicism likes to push. And even these other Israelite camps talking about there's not going to be any Jacob's trouble. You're not going to have to go through nothing. The kingdom of heaven is going to be a walk in a park. No. The prophets, the believers of Yahweh Bashim El Shai have always caught hell. Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, the three holy children, all the ancient the disciples that later became apostles. If people really knew, because majority of people don't even look to that. They don't look into how the disciples, the 12 disciples, excluding Judas, they went out, except for the apostle John, John the Revelator. All the apostles suffered gruesome deaths. But ultimately, they were willing to take that because they believe in the testimony of Yahweh Bashim El Shai. They were willing to take that death. They were willing to go through that. But majority of our people, when these times come up on the planet Earth, they're not going to be ready. They're not going to be prepared. They're going to be bugging out. They're going to be crashing out. They're going to be asking, why is this happening to me? And ultimately, because they weren't warned from their congregation. They weren't warned when they should have been warned by their leadership, the Christian pastor, these other Israelite camps. So when that great persecution comes, because it's already beginning of it, we're in the beginning stage of Jacob's trouble, but it's only going to ramp up more and more. This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And it says persecuted for righteousness' sake, not for wickedness' sake, not for being YNs and selling drugs and being whoremongers and scamming. No, it says for righteousness' sake. Those who are doing the will of Yahweh Bashim El Shai, who are pushing prophecy, who are putting off that old man and putting off that world. They are in the spirit of being pilgrims upon the earth. Micah chapter 2 and verse 10, arise ye and depart, because this is not your rest. Only the hopeful elect are in that spirit. While majority of our people, they're still bugging out. They're still crashing out because Esau, Edom hasn't given them their stimulus check. But here, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, he's about to come down with that great wrath. He's not gonna hold back because you're an old man or you're an old woman or you're a kid or a child. No. Esau, Edom, he's going to try to do a number, or he's going to do a number on our people and try to do away with us. But we know that that's not going to be possible because Yahweh Bashim El Shai he has left the remnant. Verse 11, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. And we already have that, with our own people, especially these Israelites. That they're Israelites. They talking shit. But who's the main persecutor, the main accuser? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. He's going to use his AI. He's going to use these waggy-taggy tactics that he's been using. He's going to pay off some of our family members. Some of our family members are going to give some of the members of the elect up. Friends that you had in the world, ex-women. These are the times we're coming into. But ultimately, that's the lot that the remnant are going to have to go through to get to the kingdom of heaven. Verse 12, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets that which were before you. So even the prophets before is all the ancient prophets of before. Some of them got delivered, but some of them had to be martyrs. Stephen, getting stoned. The 12 apostles, they got put to death in gruesome ways. Peter got hung upside down. Some of the apostles, they got skinned alive. These are all accounts, but only the true prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua are going to be pushing unto that and warn what comes with serving Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, what comes with being a believer of Yahushua. It's persecution. And we're about to come into that great hour of temptations. It's right around the corner. This is John chapter 15 and verse 20. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted you, they will also persecute you. Or Salakia, if they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my saying, they will also keep yours also. And just like Yahushua got persecuted by his own people, the high priests, the Pharisees and the wicked Pharisees and the wicked Sadducees, his own people, Judas. And that's the times we're coming into, people that we weren't expecting, to turn us in. These are the times we're coming into, but only the true members of the elect, of the hopeful elect, are getting prepared for these things. This is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. And it reads, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So some of the members of the elect are going to be thrown in prison. They're going to be they're going to have their faith tested. Are you going to fold and take the MOTB, take the RFID microchip and bow down to Esau, Edom? Or are you going to be willing to lay your life down? Speaking to myself first and foremost, but these are the times that we're about to come into upon the planet Earth. Only the elect are getting prepared in the right way, while the rest of our people, the 2/3, they're not getting prepped. They're just waxing worse and worse. Being comfortable, being settled on their leads, thinking that nothing's ever going to happen. But they're sadly mistaken. They're about to go through these things, but Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is not going to deliver them. And if they do get put to death, if they're not part of the elect, then ultimately they're not going to receive that crown of life. They're not going to receive that immortality. That's only reserved for the elect, starting with the 144,000 and the large multitude, the believers, the helps. This is Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4. And it reads, and I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither have received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Hamashiach Yahushua 1,000 years. And that's only the elect, starting with the 144,000 And the large multitude of 1/3, that's going to be the governing body in the kingdom of heaven that's right around the corner, is knocking at the door. In that 1,000-year period, that's when the kingdom of heaven is going to be built up. When all these heathens are going to have to serve that slavery, especially the Edomites, the self-proclaimed white people. They're going to serve that 1,000 long hardcore year slavery, and then they're going to be done away with. But these are the times where we're coming into great persecution. The hour of temptation is going to come upon the whole world. And ultimately, only the elect of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua of the nation of Israel, which comprises of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and Israelite foreigners, those are the only ones who are going to be willing to lose their lives, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is going to put it up on their spirit, to take that lot. But that's pretty much the point. I pray that this was edifying unto the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who all learned this truth from and who do it well. Peace and salutations to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Unto you I say shalom.